Bhagavatam. And just a reminder that this coming Sunday is Bhagavad Purnima, and you'll be watching this on, I guess it'll be Wednesday. So just a reminder that, I think Thursday is Vamana Dev's appearance day, and then we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his appearance day, Haridas Thakur's disappearance day. Oh, it's amazing, so many festivals. So much excitement. And then Sunday is Bhadra Purnima, which is the day to sponsor a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you have not sponsored a set of Bhagavatams this year, then please click on the information in the link below. Sponsor a set of Bhagavatams for the Bhakti Center. Haribo! Okay, so we're going to continue reading from the Bhagavatam, the 6th verse of 26th chapter. We started reading the other day, and we're going to conclude that today.
Let's just say it properly.
Yeah, I'm just giving the context. You're going to do the proper thing.
Oh, thanks. Canto 4, chapter 26, text 6.
Haribo! Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Right, text 6. Oh, shall I just read the verse again as a reminder?
Sure, why not?
If a king is too attracted to eating flesh, he may, according to the directions of the revealed scriptures on sacrificial performances, go to the forest and kill some animals that are recommended for killing. One is not allowed to kill animals unnecessarily or without restrictions. The Vedas regulate animal killing to stop the extravagance of foolish men influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. And then I'm going to start on the second paragraph of the purport, because we read the first paragraph in the previous vlog. I'm just going to block him because he keeps looking. I know you're looking. How can you keep looking?
I'm looking because
I know.
You know what? So
It's because of the mic.
Speak louder, please.
No. There's people on their balcony and they don't need to hear about demoniac people and slaughterhound.
Everybody needs to hear.
People
Speak
reading
louder so the
in the
people listening to
courtyard,
the thing
right?
can
They're
hear.
reading in the courtyard, demoniac and slaughtering them. All right, second paragraph. Because demoniac people want to be cheated, so many cheaters are present to cheat them. At the present moment, in this age of Kali Yuga, the entire human society has become an assembly of cheaters and cheated. For this reason, the Vedic scriptures have given us the proper directions for sense gratification. Everyone is inclined in this age to eat meat and fish, drink liquor, and indulge in sex life. But according to the Vedic injunctions, sex is allowed only in marriage. Meat eating is allowed only when the animal is killed and offered before the goddess Kali. And intoxication is allowed only in a restricted way. In this verse, the word niyam yati indicates that all these things, namely animal killing, intoxication and sex, should be regulated. Yeah, it's interesting. The point that stood out is that if you want to be cheated, you'll get cheated. And here specifically, Prabhupada's talking about demoniac people, but I think devotees as well, to be controversial. Because it's interesting with some recent conversations or this and that. Just having conversation with friends, right? I no need to get anyone to get excited, but it's like, oh, how come, this is allowed in order to achieve this? We're talking about spiritual path, or how come you can do this to achieve? And defense of this or defense of that, and it just came up in my mind when I'm reading this that it's a very watered. If you want it watered down, you'll find your tribe where it's watered down, and you definitely will gravitate away from anyone that's trying to stop the leak, as it were. Things get watered down, and that's how it is, and that's how we roll, and then we're cool. So buzz off, sort of thing, if that makes sense, because you want to be in that level of rasa. And I'm not saying it's good, not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it just brought to my mind that we have to be, we read like this and Prabhupada says, demoniac people, cheaters will get cheated about. No, that's within us as well, And we know that even within that, like say if I'm having some issue or this, or someone was just messaging me and they know there's certain type of thing they can say, certain thing they're not going to say or whatever, because they're going to get a certain response, if that makes sense. I want to talk to you about this, okay, and it comes to a certain level and then you're stopped because you're not going to go to and beyond another level of revealing a mind and talking a certain way. So we also allow ourselves to be cheated and cheaters, as it were. So that's my point. That it isn't, unfortunately, it's not just where we can point fingers as devotees and say, demonia, it's within, if we want to be cheated, we'll find our tribe to be cheated.
Srila Prabhupada often tells the story of Bhaktivedanta, of using that terminology, and he says that there are sadhus who go to the banks of Radha Kund, and they're not sadhus, there are people, cheaters, who go to the bank of Radha Kund, and they pretend to be sadhus. And then there are unscrupulous women who want to get a child from a sadhu so that they have a sadhu child. So they go to the bank of Radha Kund to try to corrupt or manipulate some sadhu into basically having sex with them so that they can get a child. And then what happens is they go and they meet some guy who's pretending to be a sadhu. So then Bhaktisiddhanta would say, so thus you have the world we live in, a world of the cheaters and the cheated. So people are trying to cheat someone, and then in the end they wind up getting cheated by that person. So
they went to the banks of Radhakund to get a child that would be like a sadhu, but they end up with a sadhu.
I'm going to read my paragraph now. Thank you very much. Anyone would like to sponsor a Bhava Bhakti, you can have her. She'll keep you laughing all day long, keep you in stitches. Regulations are meant for human beings, not for animals. The traffic regulations on the street telling people to keep to the right or the left are meant for human beings, not for animals. If an animal violates such a law, he's never punished, but a human being is punished. The Vedas are not meant for the animals, but for the understanding of human society. A person who indiscriminately violates the rules and regulations given by the Vedas is liable to be punished. One should therefore not enjoy his senses according to his lusty desires, but should restrict himself according to the regulative principles given in the Vedas. If a king is allowed to hunt in a forest, it is not for his sense gratification. We cannot simply experiment in the art of killing. If a king, being afraid to meet rogues and thieves, kills poor animals and eats their flesh comfortably at home, he must lose his position, because in this age kings have such demoniac propensities. Monarchy is abolished by the laws of nature in every country. Prabhupada, in one short purport, covers so many topics that we could just talk on and on about. But first one is, that the regulations from the Vedas, they're meant for us to follow, meant for us to understand, meant for us to abide by. Then Prabhupada brings up this point, which I was going to mention earlier, because the whole thing is that Kshatriyas, or kings in general, they are given the sanction by which they can go and hunt animals. But the point is, from what I've understood from Prabhupada's books, is that they're hunting animals in order to accomplish a couple of things. First one is that they become expert at hunting and expert at using weapons because they're warriors, they're fighters. The second one is that the animal kingdom also needs to be regulated in some way. So therefore, by them going out and killing certain animals, then it keeps that animal species at a certain level. But what it isn't is that they just go out and hunt and kill something and stick it in the freezer to enjoy in the winter months. That is not what they're doing. They're not hunting for the purpose of their own sense gratification and enjoyment. And then the last point that I picked up here was Srila Prabhupada mentions, in this age, kings have such demoniac propensities. And I remember, anyway, we went somewhere when we were in London, and we were looking at the debauchery of the different kings and the monarchy of, just of England, and especially, I guess it was after Henry VII, Henry VIII, right? Henry VIII, and how, however many wives he had, and he was just killing them off one by one. And meanwhile, there's often pictures you see of them holding like big turkey sticks or drumsticks or chicken or whatever it is, and just gluttonously enjoying the opulence of their position. And then Prabhupada says, basically, because of this, they have to lose their position. And then it says monarchy is abolished by the laws of nature in almost every country, which is true. There are only a few countries that still have functioning monarchies. Even in England, they have the monarchy, but it doesn't actually function as a monarchy. It's a democracy. So, like that.
Okay, final paragraph. People have become so degraded in this age that on the one hand they restrict polygamy, and on the other hand they hunt for women in so many ways. Many business concerns publicly advertise that topless girls are available in this club or in that shop. Thus, women have become instruments of sense enjoyment in modern society. The Vedas enjoin, however, if a man has the propensity to enjoy more than one wife, as is sometimes a propensity for men in the higher social order, such as the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, and even sometimes the Sudras, he is allowed to marry more than one wife. Marriage means taking complete charge of a woman and living peacefully without debauchery. At the present moment, however, debauchery is unrestricted. Nonetheless, society makes a law that one should not marry more than one wife. This is typical of a demoniac society. Interesting.
As heavy stuff. Jai Prabhupada.
Interesting.
What you got to say to that?
No, I'm just taking it in. Sometimes you don't have to always necessarily speak straight away, because you have to hear what Prabhupada's saying and take it in,
Totally, gotcha.
Yeah, but it's so far out. Prabhupada's so beyond, what's that word? Before his time. He's thinking, you can imagine his godbrothers pulling this apart, and what is he saying, and or whatever, or so-called intellectuals, or philosophers, whatever, people who think they're intelligent, and what is this Swami saying? But that a man can take more than one, that's what they'd hone in on as well. A man can take more than one woman, and that's so primitive, and people point fingers at certain faiths or cultures that allow that, more than one wife, still to this day. And then for the most part, I'm not saying everyone, for the most part, they are looked after, they are sheltered and whatever. So I'm not saying I'm for it, I'm just saying that. And then normally it's a culture that is, like Prabhupada says, a democracy, or is so advanced or civilized. They're the ones that would point fingers, and then they're the ones that have, unrestricted partners and this and that. And it's okay. It's okay to do that till you find the right one. Yeah. Anyway.
It's a very interesting perspective, the Prabhupada, because it definitely makes you think about how, this propensity is there to enjoy, but instead of trying to enjoy in a restricted manner and a regulated manner by taking responsibility for, a partner and looking after them, instead they say, nope, you can only have one. but of course that rule and that law came about not because, in one sense, people were like, yeah, let's just restrict people. It came about probably because in the time when people were allowed to do it, they were abusing it and also misusing it. And you go around marrying more than one woman and not really looking after them and not taking care of them. So the whole point is that, which is an interesting concept, is that if one has the inclination, the strong inclination to try to enjoy in this way or that way, it at least should be done in a lawful or restricted or regulated manner. But marriage means taking complete charge of a woman. Of course, in the modern day, you wouldn't want to read that out loud in too many places. But living peacefully without debauchery. And what was it just the other day? I saw some quote or something. Anyway, I was just talking about the propensity in the modern age is that, most people are having extramarital affairs going on. In fact, I think in some circles it's even encouraged to try to do that sort of thing. So it's like, consciously, not like even behind people's backs, but they consciously do it. So it's like, this is all the kind of stuff that is going on in the modern day. Just in an effort, again, to just squeeze out some enjoyment in the material world. Thinking, I think back to the verse we were reading before, which is that just trying to unrestrictedly enjoy my senses, But how many partners can you physically have and actually enjoy in any way, whether it's emotionally or, just physically? It's like, I think Prabhupada said in one place, like, a human being can't even compare to a pigeon. Because pigeons can have sex again and again and again and again and again and procreate so much. But humans are just limited. So I really appreciated that point you made about how whether we want to restrict or not, we're already restricted. So anyway, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
All right.
Thank you all very much. See you next time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.